DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. At Merck Animal Health, we're shaping the future of animal health with pioneering science, connected technology, and insights-driven solutions to bring our customers an unparalleled portfolio of choices to improve cattle care and operational efficiency. We support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. We have an exciting day. We're on location. We're outside north and east of Lincoln, Nebraska at the Eastern Nebraska Research Extension Education Center. We're going to have a great show, talk about the great things that the University of Nebraska has going on to support the beef and crop industries.
When you spot BRD in your cattle, that's your golden opportunity to target infection and its associated fever with a single dose of Resflor Gold, the industry standard dual therapy. To learn more, talk to your Merck Animal Health rep or your vet and see label at resflorgold.com. Animals intended for human consumption must not be slaughtered within 38 days of treatment. This product is not approved for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson and I'm here with Dr. Doug Zalesky, and we're outside of Ithaca, Nebraska at the Eastern Nebraska Research Extension and Education Center, where Dr. Zalesky serves as the director of this entity, and it's quite a large undertaking. This is a big area and a lot of commercial scale agriculture research, right?
It is, and Dan, thank you for this opportunity. The Eastern Nebraska Research Extension Education Center is about 10,000 acres. It includes both livestock production research and cropping research, and so it's unique in that perspective in that we can do both on the same location, and it allows us then to look at the complete circle of production that we see in this part of the state with both on the site. So yeah, we're a unique facility here.
Well, it's always amazed me at the practical and industry-led research that comes out of this center, plus the opportunities that you bring producers in here to learn on a day-to-day basis. But you're not just doing this in subplots and small plots, you're actually breaking this out into what we would do day-to-day out on the farm or ranch or feedlot.
Right, from the cropping perspective, we can do field scale research all the way down. We can do small plot research, and we still do some of that, but it's become obvious to us that we need to do field scale research, and so we have that capabilities here with about 3,000 acres of what is full scale, full field type research, both irrigated and non-irrigated, that we can do, and then to be really a test bed for a lot of new technologies and things that are coming, that just keep coming forth, and producers are always asking, will that technology work for me? Well, what we do here is we test it and hope to answer those questions for them here, as opposed to them taking the risk on their place.
Well, you're fulfilling the land grant mission, which a lot of people have lost their way, and I applaud the University of Nebraska, because what you're doing, and for all of us, is saying, hey, when something new comes out, you're paying taxes. We work for the stakeholders, the students, and the stakeholders of the state. Let us figure it out, and we'll bring you some answers instead of you having to buy it, figure it out yourself, and it doesn't get amplified to all the producers.
Correct. We realize that not everybody's operation is different, and so some things will work on some places, some operations, and it won't work on others. And so we just try to figure out where it fits with people's operations and take that risk, as opposed to them having to take the risk.
So you're expanding on the feedlot side.
We are.
And while a lot of people are selling off their research farms for subdivisions, Nebraska's expanding. How exciting, and kind of give us a little bit of a foreshadow of what we're going to see today.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be able to continue to build on our missions. And Klosterman Feedlot Innovation Center, we're approaching probably 90% completion with that. And that in itself too will allow us to look at research and technology based on a commercial scale in a feedlot setting, as opposed to a more traditional research feedlot, which has small pens and small numbers of cattle in each of those pens. So the pen size here and some of the new directions that the feedlot industry is looking at going, we're going to test here.
Thanks for joining us today on DocTalk. We're going to take a break. More from the University of Nebraska when we come back after these messages.
This Cattle Intel is brought to you by Neogen.
Hello there, Dr. Nick Wagner, Professional Services Veterinarian with Neogen here today, and just wanted to take a brief minute and speak to you about water access for pastured cattle. When you look at it, you want to make sure, based on the size and number of cattle that you have in your pasture, that you have free accessibility and availability to a water source. And so in a lot of cases, you may end up using a surface water source. One of the things that you want to be careful with surface water sources is contamination. That diseases that could be present in that, or potentially microbiological activity like a blue-green algae that could be toxic to cattle. So you've got to be careful that you're evaluating those sources so that it doesn't have an impact on the health and safety of your cattle. The other piece of it is you want to make sure, if you're not going to have adequate access with that surface water source, then consider potentially the implementation of mechanical water sources in that pasture to ensure that the cattle have adequate access. Because the one big thing with cattle that's important is their feed intake is going to be directly related to their water intake. And if you're not providing free access to water, it is truly going to impact the overall productivity of those animals.
Thanks for watching Cattle Intel by Neogen.
Are you a cattle feeder looking to manage for a stronger and more profitable set of cattle? Look no further than Igenity Feeder. Igenity Feeder utilizes DNA to gain insight into your cattle's genomic potential, with the information to predict performance, quality, and economic endpoints for cattle feeders. Animals are scored and ranked in a simple format, driving more precise and accurate management decisions. Igenity Feeder gives you the power to predict days on feed, manage variability within lots, characterize carcass performance, and focus on metrics important to you and your operation. With the data provided, you will identify superior animals earlier and maintain high operational efficiency. Maximize your profit and optimize performance with Igenity Feeder.
Success in the cattle business hinges on a lot of different people playing their part, from the vet to the cowboy and the nutritionist to the feed truck driver. You rely on them to get their job done right, and so do your cattle. Your expectations for the vaccines you use should be no different. Bimeta's cattle vaccines were developed and are made and sold by men and women in the cattle business. No smoke and mirrors, just real-world protection that you can rely on. Go to bimetabiologicals.com to learn more.
John McCurry with McCurry Angus Ranch. We are standing right now in our fall yearling bull pen. On our first initial run with therapies, we commingled 3 separate different pens of bulls together for the ones that's in the sale, and had virtually no issues with these cattle in terms of commingling them and their attitudes towards each other. Didn't have the riding and the fighting that we normally can experience. And I would highly recommend us using therapies, and would recommend that to anybody else looking to do so.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Galen Erickson. He is the Nebraska Cattlemen's Professor of Animal Science at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in the Department of Animal Science. He's a ruminant nutritionist, one of our international leaders in ruminant nutrition, and we're at the Klosterman Research Facility here at UNL, and this is unbelievable.
Yeah, we're super excited. We're really constructing a commercial scaled innovation research feedlot. The Klosterman family made the leading gift, and so really excited, opening this summer of 2024. So just can't underestimate my enthusiasm, and really the enthusiasm of the industry for us to get this built.
Yeah, well, when you look down for the state of Nebraska, it's the beef state, and when you're building something to support the producers of this state, it's got to be world class. And I'm telling you right now, this is. We're standing here in the first barn.
Yep.
That's named after someone that was really a pioneer of ruminant nutrition, Dr. Terry Klosterman.
Yeah, we Terry passed away a few years ago, and he had such an impact on me personally, the Nebraska cattle industry, the University of Nebraska. So many of myself and many alumni were trying to think about how do we honor and memorialize Terry's contributions, and he loved to do individual feeding studies. And in fact, we have just north of us here at our facility a 120 head Galen gate system. Kind of the Galen gates were the old system that we used in research. So we all knew and joked that he loved that facility so much. So we had decided we were going to put in a 240 head feeding technology barn and really do evaluation of sensors and technologies on the cattle, but also, feeding equipment that would give us more information in the old Galen gate system, which worked well, but just doesn't give us as much as we wanted. So we're excited. We've just completed the 240 head facility here. It's the Klosterman Feeding Technology Center. And the equipment we've chosen is the Hoco Farms equipment. Many in the industry know them as Incentech, and excited to have cattle come in here in the next month.
So this facility will focus on individual animal research, where you can apply different treatments, look at it within the same pen with the same animals offered the same feed, different types of things, correct?
Yeah, and the flexibility of this system is I can decide which one of these nodes, so there's 5 nodes in this pen, 6 head are kind of can be attributed to any node, but I can decide that this animal gets to eat 2 pounds out of that node and 3 pounds out of this one and 10 pounds, or I can say it can only eat out of that node to test that diet. Let's say I have a diet in this one and a different diet here, and I only want them to have the one diet. So it gives us a lot of flexibility to either assign how much we want them to eat or which nodes or diets. And so, yeah, we've got grandiose plans here already for the first year in funding.
Well, it's for me, the ability to go from the individual animal to the pens and really sort things out helps with the economics and the scaling up of different types of research programs.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, really, this has been discussed with a group of us for the last 5 years, the Klosterman Feedlot Innovation Center. And we're blessed here at the University of Nebraska with great facilities. We have 136 research pens that hold 10 to 20 head. But as you know, many in the industry think, well, we need to have that at scale that we produce at. And frankly, some of the things we're evaluating have smaller and smaller impacts. And so we want to be able to figure out what's real and what's not real. So we decided we were going to go to a commercial scale and build 36 60 head pens. So pretty exciting.
Yep. When we come back, we'll talk more about the different types of pens, different types of housing systems here at the Klosterman Research Center with Dr. Galen Erickson.
Founded by farmers, for farmers, United Patriot Coin stands with you. Diversify your financial portfolio with precious metals, a smart investment for uncertain times. You've worked too hard not to protect your assets. United Patriot Coin, precious metals for a secure future.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed LidoBand, a novel lidocaine-impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. LidoBand, a small device that can make a big difference.
They're here, they're hungry, and they can't be stopped with ivermectin. Choose Safeguard when you deworm your cattle to take out resistant parasites like brown stomach worm, Cooperia, Nematodirus, and others. With Safeguard's efficacy, you can kill more resistant worms in your cattle, so you don't leave potential on the table. Consult your veterinarian for the diagnosis and treatment of parasitism. Then bite back at safeguardworks.com.
Ranchers,
Looking to elevate your pasture management game? Turn to Heinen Brothers for expert aerial application. With state-of-the-art equipment and seasoned pilots, we deliver precision treatments right to your fields. From fertilizers to herbicides, Heinen Brothers has your pasture covered. Visit HeinenBrosAg.com to learn more.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson with Dr. Galen Erickson, who is the Nebraska Cattleman Professor of Animal Science. The Klosterman family has donated money, and this is the Klosterman Research Center, but there are other people that made some rather large donations to make this happen.
Yeah, I certainly want to recognize Greater Omaha donated to make our cattle processing facility, which is very unique and one of a kind. JBS for our confinement barns, and they thought that would have some real environmental pluses. And then Farm Credit made a large donation. And then a whole host of alumni like me, which were much smaller donations, but in feed yards across the state donated for the whole facility as well as for the Klosterman Center. So just really blessed, $7.2 million facility, and well over half of that private funded. So
let's talk about the other facilities. So you have two more indoor housing and then two outdoor type systems.
Right.
And let's talk about your indoor systems.
Yeah, we chose to look at deep pit barns. Yep. So slatted floors, 25 square foot per head. Of course, we have the rubber mats on the pen surface. But really, from a manure management standpoint and controlled environment at commercial scale, that's really the facility that's out there. We chose deep pit barns mostly because I'm unaware of any good scientific comparisons of deep pit barn production systems and open lots, kind of the traditional. There's quite a bit of information out there on deep bedded pack barns. So we chose the deep pit barn, and we think we've got some good comparisons to make from a cattle health and welfare and behavior, manure management, of course, good old performance, and then environmental issues. And so we're excited, in starting this first year, we're going to be doing full nutrient balances, and the barns are sort of a way to conserve the most nutrients, if you can, in the manure.
Well, when I look at it, and there's nothing wrong with it. You can make all facilities work, but the future of that deep pit, of being able to unload your manure and your liquid fraction out of the bottom of that with the solids and spread on crop ground and not have to bring anything synthetic behind it, is just an unbelievable leap on the sustainability monitors. Let alone what these types of facilities do for performance. The difference, though, between your two barns, want different roofs, right, and different systems.
Yeah, so really, and I always use my hands because the gable roof, right, which has two sloping roofs and then an opening in the middle of the barn that allows airflow to come in from the sides, and of course the cattle heat that air up and it goes out the top. So gable roof design, so we'll be able to look at what's the effect of that airflow difference versus a monoslope. And the monoslope barns are sort of unique in that taller roof on the south, so it lets sunlight in the wintertime, of course full shade in the summertime. And frankly, again, just like I was suggesting, not a lot of information out there, okay, which barn design is the best. And so we'll have comparable information on those two designs.
Well, it was something, I chair the Iowa Beef Industry Council's state checkoff, the voluntary checkoff, and we do research every year. And your proposal was at the very top of our list, because comparing these types of buildings, comparing the outdoor pens and the RCC that we're going to talk about, we just appreciate what you're doing to lead our industry.
Yeah, that's one of the funding for our first year here is to do the manure and nutrient management work. And we're blessed here at Eastern Nebraska Research Extension Center with a lot of commercial scaled cropping enterprise too.
Yep.
So we have grand plans of not just tracking that through the cattle and then we got the manure, but all the way through the crop and back into the cattle. So really exciting opportunity for us.
It's going to be great. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up here with Dr. Galen Erickson at the University of Nebraska. Hey folks, for your firearm and ammo needs, for gun safes and much, much more, and to have it personalized, come visit us at United Patriot Supply outside of Seneca, Kansas. You can also visit us online at unitedpatriotsupply.com. Be sure to say that Dr. Dan and DocTalk sent you, and we'll see you down the road.
Hey, I'm Clark Victory. I grew up right here on this little ranch near Chelsea, Oklahoma. Roped and ranched all my life. A few years ago, I had an injury that created what they call a frozen shoulder. And after speaking with the surgeon in Tulsa, he told me that he could make my shoulder better if he did surgery, but he absolutely couldn't fix it. And I called Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. I did the stem cell replacement. By 12:30, my wife and I had lunch and was driving back to Chelsea. We work around here. Some days we work pretty hard around here, and my right shoulder doesn't get sore. It's like a baby's arm.
One animal has this huge impact on your operation.
BVDV is one of the most costly bovine diseases, with losses of $15 to $88 per head.
The virus will actually cross the placenta and get into the fetus. As it's developing, its immune system will recognize that virus as it's supposed to be here. And so then that's where our persistently infected animals come from. They're going to shed that virus their entire life, and then it's going to impact your operation.
It is important to work with your local veterinarian and partner with IDEXX for the best solution for your operation.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Galen Erickson, and we're outside Meade, Nebraska. We're at the Klosterman Research Center. This is an unbelievable facility.
Yeah, you know, really one of the newest areas of interest with our feed yards that are open lot is putting out what's called RCC, roller compacted concrete. And in concept, it's concrete, but it's put out in more of a dry form, compacted, so you don't have to form it and smooth it and all that. But a lot of questions about it. How do the cattle do on it? What about lameness and health? What about performance? How much bedding or not do I need? How much space requirements? So I have enough questions to easily get through my career on just how we should manage RCC. And frankly, like normal, I wish we'd had it built 5 years ago and had a lot of those questions answered. You know, there's one excellent study out of Alberta on RCC and open lots, but that's a different environment, little different square footage than what we have here. Yeah. So point is, I know a lot of feed yards have put it in and are trying it out on some pens, and that's good. Of course, in our situation, we'll be randomizing cattle and make sure there's no biases, whereas a lot of yards, you know, rightfully so, they bring in lots and they put, well, that lot's here and this lot's here. Well, that's a little harder to compare. So I think we'll have some really good answers on what's the effect of RCC on manure, nutrient management, cattle performance, cattle behavior. You know, like I've sounded like a broken record, but that's our goal, is to measure all these opportunities in these different housing systems.
Well, I think the other thing is that what we have seen is kind of that loss of the land grant mission in our land grant universities. And this is the opposite. This is like the land grant mission on steroids. And you're going to be able to, instead of someone having to go out and build a barn and figure it out on their own, you're doing this for the stakeholders of the beef industry in the state of Nebraska, saying, hey, we're going to look at all these different housing systems. We're going to look at outdoor, indoors, and different things. And our job is to figure it out and bring you the answers so that you don't have to waste money trying to figure out how to get the right system perfected.
That is our goal, and our whole research and extension and outreach efforts are focused entirely on that, and obviously benefits hopefully beef producers worldwide, but yeah, tremendous opportunity, especially for producers anywhere within a 200-mile radius of Meade, Nebraska. So we're pretty proud and happy about that.
Yeah. So just as we kind of wrap up and think about this, and you think forward over the next 5-10 years, you know, what would be your 1, 2, 3 main focuses?
Well, we haven't really talked about this much, but we have some private-public partnerships that are developing, bringing some technologies to bear that really are not available today at scale. So one of my first goals would be is really good sound science on cattle performance, health and welfare, and manure and environmental issues in different housing systems.
Yep.
Number 2 would be how do we test the latest and greatest technologies, either developed internally, but more importantly and probably more likely being a test bed for all of these different options that producers, because let's face it, we don't have a shortage of information today.
Right.
We certainly don't have a shortage of people interested in having this new technology solve this old problem. but we do lack, I think, is good sound science comparing some of those things. So we view ourselves as a test bed. And then third, so I'm remiss, we're going to have, in my opinion, the world's most unique education opportunity for students. Yeah. More and more young people are coming in with less and less production ag experience. And the only criticism that we normally hear from our undergraduates in animal science is they'd love more animal contact. Well, guess what? We're going to give you an opportunity to have more animal contact. So we're talking about literally students taking a semester off, being a full-time employee here, doing the day-to-day operations and then a little classroom stuff at the end of the day. And it's going to be the Nebraska School of Feed Yard Management instead of, you hear about the Harvard School of Business. We're going to be the Nebraska School of Feed Yards. So
I think it's outstanding, and just appreciate you taking time to be on the show, and thanks for all that you're doing for our industry.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for watching DocTalk. Remember, if you won't find us, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Always work with your local veterinarian. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, here with Dr. Galen Erickson outside of Meade, Nebraska, and we'll see you down the road.
At Merck Animal Health, we support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.